Oh no, not spiders. Get them off, get them off. No, not tight places. Get me out of here, please get me out of here. No, not commitment. I can't even watch. Hey everyone, it's Brent the Middleman, your middle-aged middle manager from Middle America, here today with a video breaking down the season finale of the excellent mystery show From. We got a lot to cover, so fill out your prenups and meet me at the bar. Here we go. The finger puppets are back, and Ethan is having them go on an adventure to the tower, and this is exactly where Boyd and Sarah end up at the end of their adventure. Ethan seems to have similar powers to Victor. Victor's drawings all seem to come true, and Ethan's stories all seem to play out. Do they have something to do with everyone being trapped here, or are they just more in tune with this place than everyone else? It's also interesting that we see the finger puppets again, since the last time we saw them, Tabitha was picking them up off the stairs of the lighthouse she was somehow transported to. Are the finger puppets Ethan's version of Victor's crayons? That's when the best character in the show, Jade, comes over to show off his power plan for the radio. He believes that if they get all the appliances and wires that were brought into town, that he can connect the wires to a bunch of lamps to power the transmitter. Okay, science, that works for me. Finally, we get to Boyd and Sarah in the forest, and for some reason, they're still sitting in the tent. Sarah is playing with a worm. Yes, I know that sounded bad, as she wonders if the animals have any idea they are in some kind of human hell. Boyd says worms are creepy, so they probably feel right at home in this place. He actually says that if you cut a worm in half, then it will grow into 2 worms. I can't decide if this is a hint from the writers, or if they just wanted to get that worms are creepy line in there. It did make me wonder if there are other versions of these characters living out their lives as if they never got swallowed up by the snow globe town. Like the world cut them in half to see which version would grow the strongest. When they open the tent, it confirms the giant spider theory I put out last week, as we see the forest covered in Halloween decorations. The town gets busy collecting wires, leaving plenty of time for interactions and character development. First, we get Julie standing up for her dad by asking Jade to stop calling him Teacup. He agrees, but now he is going to call her Sparkplug. Next, we get Kenny and Donna, while Donna stares at Boyd's map of all the different roads that led people to the town. Is it only roads, and is it only America? Later, when we see the monsters' cave paintings, we see a bunch of boats around a lighthouse. Is that how people were brought here before cars? But more on that when I talk about my theories at the end, so stick around. After that, Kenny heads over to hit on Christy and invite her on a vacation. She rejects him, but the actual point of the scene was for her to remind us that she's from Grand Rapids again. The next interaction is Tabitha and the bartender Tom. He shows her a shed full of tools, otherwise known as a tool shed, where she finds a pickaxe. She's really going to town on her deep hole. Tabitha asks Tom why he isn't helping with the tower, and he is very clear that he doesn't think it's going to work, and lets her know that he's seen a lot of people with plans on how to get saved, and they always just end up at the bar. I wish we had more on Tom's backstory, but by the way he is talking, it sounds like he's been there a really long time. Stay tuned till the end though, because Tom comes back up in a really interesting theory. We then head up to Colony House, where Ellis takes Fatima away from her work on the transmitter so he can ask her to marry him. Back out to the woods as Boyd and Sarah head towards the direction of the big light they saw. Boyd hears his wife asking for help, but Sarah can't hear it. It brings him into a big spider web where he sees his wife, but she grabs him and they play creepy music, so I'm thinking that wasn't really her. Boyd kicks up a nest of spiders as he runs away, and he gets bit by at least 2 of them. Do the spider bites create the monsters? Or will Boyd actually turn into a spider? Let me know in the comments what you think will happen. Back up at Colony House, Ethan is thinking about Victor. He tells his dad that Victor is out there doing his part of the quest, while setting up the tower as their part. Is everything we're seeing in this town a child's imagination playing out for real? Or are these comments just Ethan's way of dealing with all of this? Meanwhile, Boyd is starting to feel the effects of the spider bite, and he's about had it with the nightmare woods of death. He says that it's like the place feeds on their pain. It gives them hope, then takes it away. I think he's exactly right. Whatever it is, it likes people in pain. That's why it attracted these people to the town. Sarah gets Boyd to keep going, saying they need to keep heading towards the light. That's when they hear thunder in the distance as a storm is moving in. Yep, right on cue. Jade and Tien get a nice moment where Jade is able to make her feel better about leaving the town her husband is buried in by telling her the story of leaving France after his grandmother died. A lady at the airport told him, They come with you when you go. The only thing ladies say to me at the airport is, can you slide over? I'm saving that seat for my husband. Christy finds Kenny at Colony House to tell him that he's making her question her sexuality and to once again remind us that her girlfriend lives in Grand Rapids. Kenny's got game. They raise the tower and find out that the lamp battery idea worked. Yay, science. Tabitha heads back to the house to play with her hole as they notice the storm moving in. Sarah keeps pushing Boyd to go on as they hear the foghorn again. It's now pouring as they reach the top of the hill and see the lighthouse for the first time. The spotlight is spinning and the horn is blaring. At Colony House, they race to get out of transmission with the storm quickly approaching. It seems like every time Jim says the message, the storm gets worse. They are definitely making this place angry. Finally, though, they get a voice. It initially sounds like a normal guy on a CB radio out trolling for lot lizards. You can Google it. But it quickly turns creepy when he says Jim's name and tells him that his wife really shouldn't have dug that hole. Jim panics and takes off to warn Tabitha because how does some dude know all about her hole? Inside Colony House, the light bulbs all start bursting as the haunted town tries to end their little radio project. I've seen a few theories as to who or what the voice on the radio may be. The most popular theory is that it's Tom the bartender. We know he hasn't been helping, we know that he thinks any attempt to escape is stupid, and he knows that Tabitha is digging the hole because he helped her find the pickaxe. This makes a ton of sense to me, and he could either be working with the place, or he doesn't want to be rescued for some reason. And if you have other theories on the voice, please let me know in the comments. We jump to Tabitha hard at work on her hole. Sorry, that's the last one. As she breaks right through the bottom. As Jim runs into town, the camera lingers on a sign with a hula girl holding a pineapple. Maybe there wasn't always a forest. Maybe it's a hint that there used to be an ocean, or it used to be more tropical, back when boats were the way people came to town. At the bottom of the hole, Tabitha sees that the wires really went nowhere. She's looking at a wire when Victor shows up. He tells her that the tennis player boy told him that she would come and that he should wait down there for her after being brought there by the faraway tree. Victor tells her that they have to go because this is where the monsters sleep. Do they come out of the dirt? Because it's daytime and I don't see any sleeping people eaters. Victor shines his light on the wall and tells her that the monsters make drawings too. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on here, but it almost looks like the drawings are telling a story. It starts with people in boats being pulled into the lighthouse, surrounded by the same symbols you can see on the talismans. They aren't big boats though, they look like canoes carrying 2 or 3 people only, just like the cars that come into town. Then we see a bunch of white stick figures dancing around the symbol Jade kept seeing, with 2 of them alone on the top. Maybe the symbol is what was used to summon these demons or start this crazy cycle they are in. I say cycle because of all the dates we saw in the lighthouse and in the bottles. Or the symbol is the forest and the 2 figures are Boyd and Sarah crossing through, while the others wait in town near what looks like graves. Yeah, not creepy at all. Then there's a big red and black demon figure that 2 of the stick figures made it to the other side of. Is this Boyd and Sarah again during this current cycle? It looks like above their heads is a tower transmitting a signal. Or it could be seagulls. Is this the part of the quest we're in right now? Boyd and Sarah crossed the demon when they were dragged through the forest, while at the same time they got the radio tower working. After this, there is a drawing of a bunch of red stick figures dancing around a field near a white house. Are these the monsters? And are they in the field with the stone circle? Those 2 white stick figures also move past this as well in the upper right. There are more of the symbols that look like a tree or a tower and what looks like the drawing of an infinity symbol. Is this the source of everything? The way to stop the cycle? This is all I can make out, and it may be showing that 2 people always try to get through the forest, and perhaps being successful will save everyone. But I get the feeling that that doesn't happen too often, and instead they just create more monsters for the next group. Jim gets to the house too late and sees that the entire upper floor has collapsed into the basement, putting a bunch of wood into Tabitha's hole. I know, I couldn't help it. Boyd is still struggling with the spider bite and he wants Sarah to just leave him. But just then, the tennis player boy telepathically communicates with Sarah, letting her know that her brother Nathan was right, that if they pushed this place too hard, it would push back. He lets her know that she'll be safe in the faraway tree that happens to be nearby. So Sarah gets Boyd over to the tree and pushes him in. Boyd steps into the tree and ends up at the bottom of some stone chimney, completely trapped, Basically my worst nightmare. We jump over to the diner where the magic jukebox kicks on, playing Everywhere Is Nowhere by Neil Young, a song about wanting to get back home to a woman waiting there. That's when we see a bus from Grand Rapids pulling up just as Neil sings, "Everybody knows that this is nowhere." I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess that Christy's fiance is on this bus, probably alone or with one other person, setting up a nice love triangle in season 2. So that was season 1 of From, and I liked it. I hope we get a season 2, and I hope this show is going somewhere and not just throwing in a bunch of weird stuff. When Boyd got trapped in the chimney, all I could think about, besides pure terror, was the Itsy Bitsy Spider song. The itsy bitsy spider climbed up the water spout. Could that be a spider bit Boyd climbing out of his water spout? Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Well, it's definitely raining. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider climbed up the spout again. This song is certainly talking about a cycle, with a spider that keeps trying to get up the water spout, but keeps getting washed out. Sounds a lot like people trying to escape the town, but they keep getting washed back. The infinity symbol the monsters drew did look a lot like a sun. I wonder if Boyd reaching it will dry up all the rain and start a new cycle. But do they get to go home, or do the survivors become the new monsters? Speaking of the monsters, we find out they sleep underground, which explains the tunnel system we can see in Victor's snow globe drawing. Maybe this place really is its own bubble universe, with the monsters living below, and with its own set of rules like the talismans. As always, leave your theories in the comments and I'll pick my favorites and include them in a video. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting like and subscribe. It really means a lot to this middle-aged middle manager. I'll be back soon with some more videos on shows like Moon Knight, The Boys, The Umbrella Academy, so if you're into that kind of thing, stick around. Thanks for watching, and once again, I'm Brent the Middleman. I'll see you next time.